Hey, what's up, guys? This is your boy Travis back again here at Big Boy Toy Reviews. And today we are taking a look at something that I basically almost know nothing about. And I say almost because I did a brief bit of research on this guy before starting the review. But this is Sentinel, and this is a RIOBOT Mezinger Zero. And so sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes in the collecting world, you just end up pre-ordering stuff that you're just like, I think that's freaking cool. And I know nothing about it, but it looks like a cool, dope ass robot. And I want to take a look at it, and maybe this will get me into liking the anime that it comes from. I also thought this was also part of like Mezinger. I've seen that anime a few times, but I don't think they're related. But somebody with more knowledge about this property maybe will know more about that. But from what I saw, it didn't seem like it was related, but it could be. But apparently, this thing is really a bad guy. And it's supposed to be, I guess, in its final. This comes from a really old anime, and a lot of people think this was like the beginning of like the mech animes. Like this was one of the OG mech animes. Maybe was the beginning before even like Gundams and stuff. This is just some stuff I heard on YouTube when I was doing some research. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. But apparently this Zero version had a brain of its own, so it didn't have a pilot, and then it ended up destroying the world. And then the original pilot of it in the previous versions of the anime like would get a reset, kind of like Groundhog Day. And he would get a reset to figure out how to stop this thing from destroying the world. So it seems very confusing to me. But that's my little brief synopsis on what I researched when I decided to do the review on this guy. But outside of the facts about this thing is freaking dope. I mean, the only thing that I wish that it had is that I wish the eyes lit up like they seem to do on the box. But unfortunately, at least none of the directions have said that this thing lights up, but I wish it did. Other than that, I mean, it's just, for not knowing anything about the property and really nothing about the anime, I freaking love this thing. The articulation in it, the die cast, like all, I think definitely the calf part of this thing is all die cast. The thighs are probably plastic. I think the arms are plastic, but these feet are solid. Now another thing, this is as close as you can get the legs. They don't go any closer than this. So he is constantly in like this A stance or further, but we'll get to the articulation later. But before we get to the actual figure and taking a closer look at that, let's go ahead and take a look at the box. So we'll set him off to the side here. The box is absolutely gigantic. It has a shit ton of accessories. But anyway, this is the front of the box. And of course, I knocked down my background because that's what I do. So this is the front of the box. Really cool. It has a big picture of the actual. I don't know if this is a render or if this is the actual picture of the figure, but it looks just like the figure, so it very well could be the actual figure. And then on the side, we got more pictures of the figure. I do wish, obviously, that there was a window. This was a window box, so you could actually see the figure in it, but unfortunately, it's not a window box. But yeah, you got his, I think this big red thing is called the Zero Scrander. And then he has this thing. I don't know what that's called, but maybe I'll look at the directions and they might have the name of it in there. But then here's the other side. The top just says RIOBOT. Then the bottom, you got your warnings and your notices and everything like that. But let's go ahead and get this out of the way. And here we have the figure. And so we get a little close up on this guy. That face is crazy. That face is so cool. I don't know if these are wires or whatever, or this is part of his brand. It looks like this might be where the pilot sits in his head there. But yeah, the paint job on that face is beautiful. It is absolutely immaculate. It is so well done. So well done. The eyes look really good. Again, I wish they did light up, but that chrome silver paint that they use for their face just looks so freaking good. And then coming down to the chest, you kind of get these kind of transparent, almost like eyes, almost on his chest. It kind of reminds me of like Gurren Lagann. How those mechs work, how it was just a face. At first it was just a face for the chest. Kind of gives me that kind of vibes for sure. I got a scratch right here. Oh no, looks like looks like some paint chipped. Oh, that sucks. That might have been when I was moving it around. No, because nothing goes down that far. I'm not quite sure how that paint chipped unless it chipped rubbing it. Oh, that sucks. I didn't see that before. Yeah, we got a little paint chip there. But the rest of the paint on this thing looks so freaking good. Down to the feet. You can see there's some paint on here too. On the die cast parts, on the feet. Got picked out in kind of like a metallic blue there. Same thing with maybe these vents. Then around to the back, legs. You'll see in the articulation, this is like a little cool gimmick that it does when you move the legs. Guess these might be like turbines or something, picked out in that metallic blue. Very, very nicely done. And we got like this gold. I don't know what you say, what that shape is. It's not quite like a diamond shape. I guess technically it could kind of be, but maybe a star, more like a star shape. Yeah, but this guy looks so freaking good. All the sculpted detail. Be cool if these lit up too. That would have been dope if these lit up too. And they're just on ball pegs. You can probably pop those off if you wanted to for whatever reason. But yeah, unfortunately, I do have a scratch on the paint. Freaking sucks, man. I don't know if that was there when I pulled it out the box or not. I guess I did handle it a little bit just to figure out the articulation so I could do the review, not thinking that this would chip, that paint would chip. So I can only think that it rubbed up like that. Maybe scratch the paint. That sucks. But yeah, he looks, other than the paint chip, he looks freaking awesome. I love the way he looks. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories because he has so freaking much. So let's get to that. Alrighty, so here are some of his accessories here. We have the iron cutters. So we got a big and small version of, or maybe just this whole thing. This whole gimmick is called the iron cutter because these two pieces do, I guess, belong with each other. So we get one of each of the small and big or larger versions of these iron cutters. Then we get, I guess this is a giant iron cutter. They didn't say what this is in the in a direction. So just a giant version of the iron cutters. He comes with several hands. So he had fist hands on in the packaging, and then he comes with weapon holding hands. Now he does have 2 of each. The other 2 hands are in the box, but he comes with a pair of each of these. So we got like kind of like spread open pose hands, and maybe a saluting hand or smack that ass hand, and then there is a weapon holding hand. Then we have kind of like these just cuffs. Now these were actually on him in the box. I forgot to put them back on. But these just kind of cover up his forearms. I'll put those back on when I do the articulation. This is another piece that will go on his forearm. So when you take these pieces off, this can connect to this here, and then you can connect both pieces if you want. And this will connect to his forearms for a bigger effect, I guess, or I think big sword thing. Then these pieces can actually make them into swords, so he can actually put them in his hand. So he comes with those pieces, and everything looks really cool. Everything looks really, really good. Everything is nicely painted, nicely sculpted. Even the handles, these aren't metal, I don't believe. No, I don't think these are metal, but they definitely look nice and metallic. I do like the way that they look. Those look really cool. So he comes with that. Then we have the Zero Scrander, and this thing is just a whole shit ton of awesome. Like it's just really, really freaking cool. I love the metallic red paint that they're using on here. And I definitely think this is paint, unless it's just made out of this metallic red plastic, but it looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then the transparent hits of plastic throughout it, and it does so much. I'll show you some different setups for this thing when we get into the articulation of things. But this thing is really, really freaking cool. And then you get some effect pieces for like when he's shooting off his arms, because apparently he can do that. So when he's rocket boosting off his arms or whatever, he can you can put these pieces on to simulate that. All right, and then you have this absolutely gigantic base with several different stands that you can use. For instance, if you want to simulate his arms like blasting off these pieces, you can attach his forearms to this, and they'll look like they're shooting off with those effect parts. You get a plastic stand like this, which does have screws, so if you need to tighten it, it's already pretty tight right now, but if you need to tighten it, but it goes into these larger holes here, so you can kind of stick that anywhere. Then you have this piece, which fits here in the middle like this, and then you get this metal pole or metal stand that will sit here in the middle. So if you want to do like a flight pose or something, you can use this metal stand. If you just want to have them straight up and down, I believe you probably can use, well, you also have this stand, so you can use this stand for flight poses too. So they give you quite a few options as far as how you want this stand and base to function. So yeah, he comes with a lot of stuff. It looks like, does this come apart? Oh wow, this comes apart too. This came all put together, so I figured that it didn't come apart. But I guess if you want to, you try to, if this takes up too much space on your shelf, you can break it down and have a smaller base. So that's pretty cool. I do like that. And it looks like each one of these pieces can be separated as well, so you can break this apart. So cool. Yeah, it is. I didn't know that until just now. So that's convenient, because I was actually wondering how the hell I was going to have him displayed, because I definitely don't have space for something this large. But I can just throw this back in the box and just use this piece and or maybe even just use like one of these pieces if I want to go even smaller. Like I could possibly use one of these pieces because it does give you the bigger slot here if you want to use this. If you want to use this, or yeah, there's a lot of options you can do with this. I don't know if you can reuse this or not, but yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not. Yeah, it probably won't be convenient to do that. This is probably strictly just for this, but yeah, and then they got holes here in this also where you can put these in there too if you want them closer. So yeah, it's just it's a ton of things you can do with this base. So this base is pretty versatile. So you don't typically get a base with so many different functions and options you can use to display your figure. So that is pretty cool. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the articulation. So as far as articulation is concerned on this guy, he does have some really cool gimmicks that he does in certain parts of his articulation. They're kind of all over the place actually. So as far as his head is concerned, they have it on like this ball joint. So you have a ball joint here and then you have a hinge here. This can also hinge as well. You can see that right there. So if you need to get him way out here, you can. So this neck, even though I just popped it off, can move all over the place. So this is probably the most functional head articulation I think I've ever seen. So he can do all kind of stuff. Now he looks weird, you know, from the side, especially with his neck sticking out like that, but he is a robot, so it's not that far from reality for something like this. His mouth does open and close as well, so you can open and close his mouth. So that is cool as well. So this head can move all over the place. It's quite a sight to see. As far as the shoulders, oh, sorry, pop those off. Gotta move them out the way. He can go up past, a little bit past, just a little bit past parallel there. All the way around. Obviously, he does have a really good butterfly that is nicely covered up, so you can kind of see how that butterfly is working. And it's very seamless, very smooth. Obviously, for a robot, they can accommodate for stuff like this because it's a robot, obviously. So very good butterfly joint there. Obviously, if you have this on, you're going to have to compensate for that, so you do have to move this out the way, but you can still get the movement. So luckily, because these are on ball pegs, you can kind of just move this out the way if you need be. Now for some reason it doesn't go down. It does it. It seems to want to pop out. It is at an angle, so that's probably why it keeps popping out when I try to rotate it all the way down. So be aware of that. As far as the elbow is concerned, now this elbow is crazy. So it is double jointed, but it doesn't really look like it. And make sure I pop that all the way in. And so initially you think it's only 90 degrees. Oh, I forgot to pop these back on. Let me go ahead, pop these back on. There is a way to pop these on. There we go. I meant to do that before I started articulation and I forgot. There we go. So that's how he's supposed to look. So anyway, you would think he just gets 90 here, but then the elbows then kind of come out and you can get way past 90 and it looks really, I mean, again, it being a robot, you can get away with crazy joints like this. So, and it still look good. So he does have that. As far as his hands are concerned, It seems like his wrists, these like inner wrists here, are on a ball joint, a really good ball joint, very smooth. It can move up and down, so you're gonna kind of get your wrist articulation from there, and then you're just gonna get a rotation on the fist or on the hand. So most of your articulation is gonna come with this kind of wrist setup that they have going on here. As far as the torso is concerned, you kind of saw that already. Obviously, this can move up like side to side. Again, you can't twist it all the way. If you twist it too far, it will pop off really easily, so be aware of that. As far as the diaphragm joint, you can go back decently far. I kind of have him already going back a little bit. You can go back about that far. Going forward with the diaphragm is not too bad. Then you do get plenty of side to side with that as well, and you get spinning. But then when you activate the rest of his torso here, so this piece moves and will pull down like that, and that way you can really get a bend very, very far. So I guess this kind of becomes a crotch piece in order for him to bend really far forward and then really, really far back as well. Side to side down there is like that, so you do get a ton of side to side. There's no twisting at that waist, so all the twisting is going to come from the top diaphragm here. He has these giant ball hinges for hips. These pieces too do adjust, so these pieces will adjust up and down. They are on a little ball peg right here, so they will move out the way if you need them to. As you can see, they kind of adjust it up, so you can get full splits. Kicking forward, they will move out the way to kick forward. Now it does go off to the side, but that's mainly because this crotch piece is so big, and the way that they have the legs built, you can't move it in anymore. So it's going to keep that, it's going to come back out more, and there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just because that crotch piece is so big. Going backwards, not so much going backwards. He does have a thigh swivel built into the actual robot pieces itself, so it's freaking seamless. This just looks really cool when you do it. Like, it's a robot, so you can expect stuff like that. Now the knees, so he does have double jointed knees. I'll show you this back part first. So when you start moving his knees, these kind of sink in and can then will open up to fill in where the thigh or like the back of the thigh can kind of like fill in that spot. And then unfortunately you do get the entire hinge right there, so you can actually see that. But that you can see at the same time when you move it back up, that knee then adjusts to go back in place. So there's a lot of engineering going on right here that that is making this articulation really freaking cool. And so as far as the ankle is concerned, so just naturally it can go up that far and then back that far, but then there's a pull down that you can really pull that down all the way and get a ton more range out of this. So yeah, then you got your ankle rocker, and you got not the best toe hinge in the world. Now the toe hinge is not great. It actually is almost hinders the articulation, unless you're like, and I don't think it's stiff enough to be able to actually hold him on his tiptoes. But there is a lot of articulation going on with this guy. Really, really cool. So anyway, let's go ahead and I'll do a couple of poses real quick, kind of show you how the Zero Scrander works with him, and kind of, what I'll do is I'll just do some pictures at the end. I'll do pictures at the end, and you can kind of see the different setups that you can do for him. So for the Zero Scrander, but I'll kind of just give you a brief articulation thing with this, since this is articulation, and this thing is very articulated. So these pieces will pop up, and then this thing can spread out. And typically you would put it on his back, and this would be one of his modes. I can't tell you what the mode is. I don't know what it would be called, but then you can put these pieces, because these pieces do lock that turn in. So like you can't put these pieces all the way in when these are in. So you do have to take them out. The other side does open, but it doesn't seem to hinder the light. Do they open? No, maybe this side doesn't open. No, I guess these don't open. I thought they did. They have hinges, but they don't seem to open. I could swear that they did, but maybe they don't. And then this can go on his back like so. And you can kind of have a setup kind of like this, because this is apparently a thing. And he comes with several. I didn't show these. I think I did have them in there, but I didn't mention them. He does come with these several different connectors that you can do to extend that to make it look, or make it fit on them better or whatnot. So he does have a lot of those connectors. So you can do that. This can spin upwards like that. And then this is a configuration as well. So you can have this setup going, and obviously with this thing on his back, obviously he does become a bit more back heavy. You can have this setup also. So this is a thing, I guess. But yeah, this thing is crazy, absolutely crazy. So, but that's kind of a brief kind of setup that I can show you for this thing. And then obviously you can just put it on his back like it in its regular form. So if we open these pieces up, this is probably a longer review than I had expected it to be, to be honest with you. I didn't think that I would actually get this detailed with this. I think, yeah, I had it on the wrong side. So you want to snap this back together, and you can spin this piece around like so. Apparently he's supposed to be like surf on this thing too. So he can apparently fly on it as well. But then you can have it on his back just like this. So if you just want to, do something like this. I'm not going into any like detail posing or anything. I'm just kind of giving you guys an idea of how this looks. I mean, this guy's been out for a minute, so I'm sure there's other reviews on him. So, but yeah, so you can have that look too. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and do some comparisons. All right, so I don't have a whole lot of like mech stuff, but I got a few things. So here, but these are all model kits. So we got Mecha Godzilla here, who is obviously a model kit, and then I forget what this Gundam is. This was a master grade that the feet broke, and so he can't really stand. But I can't remember which master grade this is. But anyway, he's really dusty. But yeah, here he is next to them, and he fits pretty well with these guys. Like proper sizing here. I thought he was kind of small technically for what he's supposed to be, but yeah, he looks good next to a Gundam and a Mecha Godzilla. Huh? Who would have known? All right, and here he is next to my big O model kit, which is now missing a ton of parts now, unfortunately, because when shit falls, when a model kit falls, it shatters into pieces, and you pretty much just never find the pieces anymore. So unfortunately, this has taken a couple of shelf dives and has lost some pieces. But here's next to Big O, and then I forget these Mega Man model kit guys. I forget what their names were. but clearly the sizing here is way off because they're supposed to be little human size and these are supposed to be giant robot size. So, but yeah, there he is next to them. And then finally here he is next to Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. So they obviously fit and scale together pretty good. And then probably the scale he probably should be. And technically, I guess you can say all robots would be somewhere closer to this Carbon X Voltron. So obviously he's way too tall. If he just kind of pan up, I've shown you this guy 1,000 times at this point, but yeah. But anyway, that is it for comparison. Let's go ahead and get to my final thoughts. All right, so to wrap things up, yeah, this dude is freaking awesome. As you can see, I got him up probably most likely how I'm gonna have him displayed. Maybe not with the big one. I do have the big one. I'm gonna take that off. At first I was gonna do something else to add this piece to it too. I was gonna have him like surfing on this thing, but I'll have him like this instead. But yeah, this dude is awesome. So freaking cool. Other than that chip paint, I really don't have anything negative to say about this thing. Maybe he's really pokey. So the iron things or whatever they were calling these are really pokey. You will poke the shit out of yourself if you don't handle those right. The swords are a little pokey. This chest piece here is definitely really pokey. So he has a lot of stabbing points. But other than that, he's freaking awesome. He is pricey, so he was like, I think I want to say he was maybe $280 or something like that. So you do have to factor that into the game here. So you got to think $280. Even how good he is he worth $280? I guess that's up to you to say. I personally, subjectively, no, I rarely think anything is worth what we pay for him these days. If I was to put a price on this guy, a fair price on this guy, $150. I'd say $150 would be a really fair price for him. So like twice that almost, that's pushing it. That's pushing it. I will say this though, there are ways around paying full USD for some of these overseas things. You just really have to know how to work the game, work the system. Because there are some websites that will allow you to pay in yen and it'll actually use the current value of yen compared to the dollar. And a lot of times when I pay that way, when I put it in yen, I'm telling you, some of this stuff is like $70 cheaper. It's like a $70 difference in some cases. So I've had $100 difference in some cases. You know, depending on what websites you buy from, just keep that in mind. If they give you an option to change the currency you use to pay, I would take that option. So that's just kind of a pro tip. But anyway, that is it for the review. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.